Welcome back, family. Before we start this beautiful story, we would love for you to kindly subscribe and turn on the bell icon. This will help us be able to bring you more stories quickly and sweetly. Now enjoy this story. The smell of leather and glue filled the small workshop where Adaku sat on a wooden stool, carefully stitching the sole of a shoe. Her hands were steady, her fingers calloused from years of work. She had spent most of her life crafting shoes, yet people still looked at her with mockery. A woman making shoes? Why not leave that for men and find something better to do? A passerby scoffed as he walked past her tiny shop. Adaku pretended not to hear, but the words stung. She had learned to ignore the insults, the laughter, the whispers behind her back. All she wanted was to make a decent living. Her late father had been a shoemaker, and she had inherited not just his skills but his dream to build a business that would one day be recognized. But the world around her didn't believe in her dream. Her small shop stood in a corner where traders gathered every morning to display their goods. Most of them had known her since she was a child, yet they never took her seriously. The men who made shoes nearby saw her as a joke, the women selling clothes and food pitied her. But Adaku did not need their pity. She needed customers. One evening, as she was packing up, she heard a soft sob. She turned and saw a little girl sitting on the ground, her tiny feet covered in dust. Her dress was torn, and she clutched a piece of paper in her hand. "Are you lost?" Adaku asked gently, kneeling beside her. The girl sniffled and handed her the paper. It was a note, smudged with dirt. "My name is Chinelo. My mother is sick. I came to buy medicine, but someone stole my money. I don't know how to go home." Adaku's chest tightened. The market was full of thieves looking for easy targets. She looked at the girl's feet again. Her shoes were worn out, almost falling apart. Without thinking twice, Adaku reached into her small purse and pulled out the little money she had made that day. It wasn't much, but it was enough for Chinelo to get home and buy what she needed. She pressed it into the girl's palm. Chinelo's eyes widened. "But won't you need it?" Adaku smiled. "I will be fine. Your mother needs this more than I do." Tears rolled down Chinelo's cheeks as she hugged Adaku tightly before running off. Adaku watched her disappear into the evening crowd, feeling an unexpected warmth in her heart. She had given away her earnings, but she did not regret it. What she did not know was that this single act of kindness would soon change her life forever. The next morning, Adaku sat in her workshop, her stomach empty but her heart light. She had no money left from the previous day, but she pushed away her worries and focused on her work. A pair of unfinished sandals lay before her, and she picked up her needle and thread, determined to keep going. As she worked, the voices of market traders filled the air. Customers moved from stall to stall, bargaining loudly. A few people glanced her way, some with amusement, others with curiosity, but no one stopped to buy. She was about to sigh in frustration when a shadow fell across her workspace. Looking up, she saw a tall, well-dressed man standing before her. His agbada was crisp, his shoes polished to perfection. He did not look like the type to visit a roadside shoemaker. "Are you the one who helped the little girl yesterday?" he asked, his deep voice cutting through the noise of the market. Adaku blinked in surprise. "Yes, sir. Do you know Chinelo?" The man nodded. "She is my niece. My sister told me what you did. You gave away all your earnings just to help a stranger. Not many people would do that." Adaku shifted uncomfortably. It was the right thing to do. "I couldn't leave her like that." The man studied her, then suddenly smiled. "What is your name?" "Adaku, sir." "Adaku, I am Chief Obinna. I own one of the largest shoe distribution companies in the country. My family has been in this business for years. But I have never met a shoemaker as selfless as you." Adaku's breath caught in her throat. She had heard of Chief Obinna before. His company supplied shoes to major stores across the country. What was he doing at her small shop? "Let me see your work," he said, glancing at the sandals on her table. With shaking hands, Adaku picked up the sandals and handed them to him. He examined them carefully, turning them over, checking the stitches, running his fingers over the leather. After a long silence, he looked up. "You are talented. Your work is excellent, but your workshop is too small, and you don't have enough resources. If you had better tools and materials, do you think you could produce high-quality shoes?" Adaku's heart pounded. "Yes, sir. I know I can." He nodded. "Good. Then let's make a deal. Come to my office tomorrow. I want to see what you can do with the right support." Adaku could hardly believe her ears. Was this really happening? Was she dreaming? "Sir, are you serious?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Chief Obinna smiled. "I never joke about business. You helped my family without expecting anything in return. Now, let me help you." With that, he handed her his business card and walked away, leaving Adaku staring after him, her heart racing. Was this the beginning of something greater? Could this be the opportunity she had been waiting for all her life? She clutched the card tightly, knowing that her life was about to change in ways she had never imagined. Adaku barely slept that night. She kept turning the business card over in her fingers, reading Chief Obinna's name again and again. Was this real? Or would she wake up to find it was all a dream? By morning, she knew she had no time to doubt. She got up early, dressed in her neatest outfit, and made her way to the address on the card. The office building was massive, with glass doors and security guards at the entrance. She hesitated for a moment, her heart pounding. Would they even let her in? Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward. "Good morning. I have an appointment with Chief Obinna," she said, trying to sound confident. The receptionist gave her a quick glance before checking a list. "Your name?" "Adaku." The woman nodded. "Please have a seat. He'll see you soon." Adaku sat, her hands gripping her knees. The lobby was nothing like the world she knew: shiny floors, air conditioning, people walking briskly in expensive suits. What was she doing here? Before she could let her doubts take over, a voice called her name. She turned to see Chief Obinna standing by his office door, smiling. "Adaku, come in." She rose quickly and followed him inside. His office was just as impressive as the rest of the building: large windows, leather chairs, and shelves lined with shoe samples. But what caught her attention most was the stack of fine leather materials and tools placed neatly on a table. "I wanted to test you," Chief Obinna said, gesturing to the table. "Take these materials and design a pair of shoes. Show me what you can do." Adaku's breath hitched. She hadn't expected this. No long talks, no explanations, just her skills on display. She stepped forward, running her fingers over the leather. It was the best quality she had ever touched. Swallowing her nerves, she grabbed the tools and got to work. For hours, she cut, stitched, and shaped the shoe with everything she had. She blocked out the luxurious office, the intimidating presence of Chief Obinna watching her, and focused only on the craft she knew so well. Finally, she was done. She placed the finished shoe on the table and stepped back, her heart hammering in her chest. Chief Obinna picked it up, inspecting every detail. He turned it over, checked the stitches, ran his fingers over the smooth surface. His face remained unreadable. The silence stretched too long, and Adaku's stomach twisted. Was it not good enough? Had she failed? Then, he set the shoe down and smiled. "This is exceptional." Adaku's knees nearly buckled. "Sir." He nodded. "You have a rare gift. With the right investment, you could become one of the top shoemakers in this country." Adaku's eyes widened. "You really think so?" "I know so. And I want to invest in you, Adaku. Let's build something great together." Tears pricked her eyes. After years of being mocked, overlooked, and struggling to survive, someone finally saw her worth. She swallowed hard and said, "I won't let you down, sir." Chief Obinna extended his hand. "Then let's get to work." As Adaku shook his hand, she realized that her life was no longer the same. This was the beginning of something greater than she had ever imagined. Adaku could hardly believe what was happening. One moment, she was struggling to sell a single pair of shoes, and the next, she was sitting across from a man who wanted to invest in her talent. It felt like a dream, but she knew she couldn't afford to let this opportunity slip away. Chief Obinna leaned back in his chair, watching her closely. I don't just invest in businesses, Adaku. I invest in people. And I see something in you, determination, talent, and the kind of resilience that can build an empire. But tell me, what do you want? Adaku blinked. No one had ever asked her that before. People had always told her what she couldn't do, but now, someone was asking her what she wanted. She took a deep breath. I want to build a shoemaking business that people will respect. I want my work to be recognized, not laughed at. And I want to prove that a woman can succeed in this industry. Chief Obinna smiled. Good answer. Now, here's what I propose. I will provide the capital, the resources, and the mentorship. But you must put in the work. If you fail, it won't be because you didn't have the tools. Do you accept? Adaku didn't hesitate. Yes, sir. I accept. Good. Then let's begin. He picked up a document from his desk and slid it toward her. This is a partnership agreement. Look it over, take your time. If you agree, we sign it, and you'll have access to the best materials, a proper workshop, and my business connections. Adaku's hands trembled slightly as she picked up the papers. The words on the page felt heavy with meaning. This was real. She wasn't just dreaming. Take it home, read it carefully, and bring it back signed if you're sure, Chief Obinna added. I want you to understand everything before you commit. Adaku nodded. Thank you, sir. I won't disappoint you. She left the office feeling a strange mix of excitement and fear. This was everything she had ever wanted, but could she truly handle it? Would people finally take her seriously? When she arrived home, she spread the papers on the small wooden table in her shop and read every word. The deal was fair. Chief Obinna would provide financial support in exchange for a percentage of the business until she became fully independent. It was more than she had ever hoped for. The next morning, she returned to the office with the signed agreement. Chief Obinna took one look at her determined face and nodded approvingly. Welcome to the beginning of something great, Adaku. Now, let's get to work. And just like that, her journey from a struggling shoemaker to something much bigger had officially begun. The days that followed were unlike anything Adaku had ever experienced. Chief Obinna wasted no time. He introduced her to suppliers, factory owners, and experienced business people. She had never seen so much quality leather, fabric, and shoemaking equipment in one place. It was overwhelming, but she reminded herself that this was what she had been waiting for. This is your new workspace, Chief Obinna said as they arrived at a spacious shop in a busy part of town. It was nothing like the tiny corner she had struggled in for years. The walls were lined with shelves, and a brand new workstation stood in the middle. Adaku's mouth fell open. This is mine. Yes. But only if you work hard enough to make it yours permanently, he said with a small smile. I'll cover the rent for 6 months. After that, you should be making enough to stand on your own. Her heart pounded. This was her chance to prove herself. She turned to Chief Obinna and bowed slightly. Thank you, sir. I won't waste this opportunity. Good. Now, I want you to create 10 new designs in the next 2 weeks. Something fresh, something different. We need to impress the market. Can you do that? Adaku nodded quickly. Yes, sir. I can. And so, the real work began. From morning till night, she sketched, cut, and stitched, determined to create shoes that would make people stop and take notice. She experimented with bold colors, unique patterns, and durable materials. She wanted her shoes to be both beautiful and long-lasting. One evening, as she was putting the final touches on a pair of sandals, someone knocked on the door. It was Chinelo and her mother. Good evening, Auntie Adaku, Chinelo said excitedly. My mother wanted to see you. The woman stepped forward and held Adaku's hands. My daughter told me what you did for her that day. I don't have much, but I prayed that God would reward you. Now I see He already has. Adaku smiled warmly. Helping her was the right thing to do. I'm just happy she got home safely. Chinalo's mother looked around the shop, her eyes filled with admiration. People used to laugh at you, but look at you now. I want to buy a pair of shoes. Adaku's heart swelled with emotion. She had not even opened for business yet, but her first customer was already standing in front of her. She carefully selected a pair of sandals and handed them to the woman. These are for you. A gift. The woman's eyes filled with tears. May your kindness never go unrewarded. As she left with Chinalo, Adaku realized something. Her success was no longer just about proving people wrong. It was about using her talent to touch lives. And this was only the beginning. The next morning, Adaku arrived at her new shop with a renewed sense of purpose. The sun had barely risen, but she was already at work, arranging her materials, preparing her tools, and sketching new designs. She had no time to waste. As she worked, a group of men from her old market walked by. One of them, Abuka, the shoemaker who had mocked her the most, stopped in his tracks when he saw her name boldly written on the sign above the shop. Adaku. He squinted, as if his eyes were deceiving him. Is this really your shop? She looked up from her workbench and met his gaze. Yes, Abuka. It is. The other men exchanged glances. How? One of them asked. Just last week, you were struggling to sell a single pair of shoes. Adaku dusted off her hands and stood up. A kind deed brought me here. And hard work will keep me here. Abuka scoffed, but there was uncertainty in his eyes. Let's see how long you last. She didn't let his words bother her. Instead, she focused on the customers who had started noticing her beautiful new designs. As the days passed, her reputation grew. People admired the uniqueness of her shoes, how they were stylish yet strong, comfortable yet elegant. It wasn't long before her first real test arrived. A well-dressed woman entered the shop one afternoon, her eyes scanning the display. She was wealthy, that much was clear from the way she carried herself. Adaku greeted her warmly. Good afternoon, Ma. Welcome. How can I help you? The woman picked up a sandal and inspected the stitching. I need custom-made shoes for my boutique. Something exclusive. Can you handle that? Adaku's heart raced. This was a huge opportunity. She nodded. Yes, Ma. I can design something special just for your store. The woman smiled. Good. I'll place an order for 50 pairs. Deliver them in 3 weeks. 50 pairs. It was the biggest order Adaku had ever received. But she refused to be afraid. She had been waiting for a chance like this. Consider it done, Ma, she said confidently. As soon as the woman left, Adaku wasted no time. She reached out to the suppliers Chief Obinna had introduced her to, ordered the best materials, and hired 2 assistants to help with production. Every night, she worked late, making sure every stitch was perfect. When the deadline arrived, she personally delivered the shoes to the boutique. The woman inspected each pair carefully, then nodded in approval. These are excellent. I will be ordering more. Adaku felt like she was dreaming. She left the boutique with her payment in hand, her mind buzzing with ideas. If she could complete one big order, she could do more. She wasn't just a shoemaker anymore, she was building an empire. And she was just getting started. Adaku could hardly believe how fast things were changing. Just a few months ago, she was struggling to sell a single pair of shoes. Now, she had a steady stream of customers, and her name was beginning to spread beyond the market. But with growth came new challenges. One evening, as she was closing her shop, a young man approached her. He was tall and had the confident air of someone who knew exactly what he wanted. Are you the shoemaker everyone is talking about? He asked. Adaku wiped her hands on her apron and nodded. Yes, I am. How can I help you? The man smiled. My name is Chigozie. I own a fashion brand, and I'm looking for a shoemaker to create exclusive designs for my next collection. Your work came highly recommended. Adaku's breath caught. A fashion brand? That was a level she had never imagined reaching so soon. I would love to collaborate with you, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. Chigozie nodded. Good. I'll send my team over tomorrow. Let's see if we can create something extraordinary together. As he walked away, Adaku felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. This was her chance to prove herself on a bigger stage. But she knew it wouldn't be easy. The next day, Chigozie's team arrived at her shop with sketches and ideas. They wanted bold, modern designs, something different from what Adaku was used to. She studied their ideas carefully, then picked up a pencil and started sketching. She combined her traditional techniques with their modern concepts, creating something fresh and unique. When she presented her designs, Chigozie's team was impressed. This is exactly what we need, one of them said. Let's move forward. The next few weeks were intense. Adaku worked day and night, crafting the perfect pairs. She hired more hands, invested in better tools, and made sure every detail was flawless. When the collection was finally ready, Chigozie invited her to his studio to see the final presentation. As she entered, she saw models wearing her shoes, posing for cameras. The sight took her breath away. Your work is amazing, Chigozie said. You have a real gift, Adaku. This is just the beginning. For the first time, she realized something. She was no longer just a small-time shoemaker. She was becoming a force in the fashion world. And nothing could stop her now. Adaku had never felt pressure like this before. The success of her collaboration with Chigozie had brought her into the spotlight, and now, orders were pouring in from all over the city. Her small shop could no longer handle the demand, and she knew it was time to expand. She found a bigger workspace in a better location, but the rent was high. It was a risk, but she believed in her abilities. With her savings and a little financial help from Chigozie, she secured the place and moved in with her workers. The first few weeks were chaotic. More clients meant more expectations, and Adaku had to manage everything, designing, supervising, and ensuring the quality of every shoe. She barely had time to rest, but she reminded herself why she started in the first place. One afternoon, a woman walked into her workshop. She was elegantly dressed, her jewelry sparkling under the light. She examined the shoes on display before turning to Adaku. You're the famous shoemaker everyone is talking about, she asked. Adaku smiled politely. Yes, I am. How can I help you? The woman picked up a leather sandal and inspected the stitching. I'm Amaka Okoye. My husband owns one of the biggest boutiques in Lagos. We are looking for someone to produce a special line of luxury shoes for our stores. Are you interested? Adaku's heart raced. A luxury shoe deal? This was beyond her wildest dreams. She nodded. I'm very interested. Amaka smiled. Good. I'll send the details to your workshop. Let's see if you can handle this. As she walked out, Adaku felt a mix of excitement and fear. This was another huge opportunity, but it also meant more work, more pressure. Could she handle it? She had come so far, but this was only the beginning. If she wanted to reach the top, she had to push even harder. And she was ready. Adaku spent the next few days preparing for her meeting with Amaka Okoye. She knew this was a rare opportunity, one that could elevate her business to a level she had never imagined. She stayed up late designing samples, selecting the finest leather, and perfecting every stitch. When the day of the presentation arrived, Adaku walked into Amaka's office with confidence. She laid out her designs on the table, her heart pounding as Amaka and her team examined them. Amaka picked up one of the shoes and ran her fingers over the stitching. Impressive work, she said. Tell me, can you produce these in large quantities while maintaining this quality? Adaku took a deep breath. Yes, I can. But I'll need time and more workers. Amaka leaned back in her chair. Time is money, my dear. I need a supplier who can meet deadlines. If you can't, I'll have to look elsewhere. Adaku's mind raced. She couldn't afford to lose this deal. Give me a trial order. I'll prove to you that I can deliver. Amaka studied her for a moment, then nodded. Fine. I'll place an order for 50 pairs. Deliver them in 2 weeks. If you succeed, we'll discuss bigger contracts. 50 pairs in 2 weeks. It was a challenge, but Adaku was determined. She rushed back to her workshop and gathered her team. We have a big order to fulfill, and we don't have time to waste, she announced. Her workers exchanged nervous glances, but they trusted her. Together, they worked day and night, cutting, stitching, and polishing. The pressure was intense, but Adaku refused to give up. As the deadline approached, exhaustion weighed on her, but she pushed through. Finally, after 2 grueling weeks, the order was ready. She inspected every pair, ensuring they were flawless before packaging them. With her heart pounding, she delivered the shoes to Amaka's boutique. Now, all she could do was wait for the verdict that would decide her future. Adaku waited anxiously for Amaka's response. Every passing hour felt like an eternity. Had she met the expectations? Would this order open the doors she desperately needed? Then, the call came. Adaku, your shoes are selling faster than we expected. The customers love them. Amaka's voice carried excitement. We need another 100 pairs immediately. Can you handle it? Adaku's breath caught in her throat. 100 pairs. That was double the first order. But this was the opportunity she had been waiting for. Yes, I can do it, she said without hesitation. The moment she ended the call, she turned to her workers. We did it. But now, we have an even bigger challenge. We need to produce 100 pairs in record time. The team erupted into cheers before quickly settling into focused determination. Adaku knew she couldn't do this alone. She hired 2 more skilled shoemakers to assist. Days turned into nights as they worked tirelessly, barely stopping to rest. One evening, as she inspected the nearly completed order, her mother walked into the workshop. Adaku, you need to take care of yourself too, she said gently, placing a bowl of food on the table. Adaku smiled but shook her head. Mama, I can't stop now. This is my chance. If I can deliver this order, there will be more. And if there are more, our lives will change forever. Her mother sighed, but pride shone in her eyes. Then I will pray for your strength. Despite the exhaustion, Adaku pushed forward. On the final day, she counted each pair, ensuring perfection. With her head held high, she delivered the shoes to Amaka's boutique. This was just the beginning, and Adaku could feel it. Her life was about to change in ways she never imagined. Adaku barely had time to catch her breath before the next wave of orders flooded in. Amaka's boutique had become the talk of the town, and her handcrafted shoes were at the center of it. Women from different parts of the city wanted a pair, and the demand kept growing. One afternoon, as she supervised her workers, her phone rang. She glanced at the screen, an unknown number. She hesitated before answering. Hello. Is this Adaku, the shoemaker? The voice was deep and authoritative. Her heart skipped a beat. Yes, sir. How can I help you? My name is Chief Nadi. My wife bought a pair of your shoes, and I must say, I am impressed with the quality. I own a chain of high-end fashion stores across the country, and I want to discuss a potential business deal with you. Are you available to meet? Adaku's hands trembled. Was this really happening? She had worked so hard, and now, someone with influence had noticed her craft. Yes, sir. I would be honored to meet with you. They agreed on a date, and the moment she ended the call, she let out a breath she didn't even realize she had been holding. Her workers noticed her expression and gathered around her. What happened? She grinned. We might be expanding nationwide. Excitement erupted in the workshop. This was more than she had ever dreamed of. But deep down, she knew that this meeting with Chief Nadi could either make or break her future. She had come so far, but was she ready for what was ahead? The day of the meeting arrived faster than Adaku expected. She barely slept the night before, her mind racing with different possibilities. She had never sat in a business meeting with someone as influential as Chief Nadi. What if she said the wrong thing? What if she wasn't prepared? She straightened her dress, took a deep breath, and stepped into the luxurious hotel lobby where they had agreed to meet. Everything about the place screamed wealth. The chandeliers, the polished floors, the expensive perfume in the air, it was a world she had never belonged to. But today, she had to act like she did. A waiter led her to a private lounge where Chief Nadi sat with his wife. The man was in his late 50s, with a neatly trimmed beard and an air of authority. His wife, the elegant woman who had first bought Adaku's shoes, smiled warmly at her. "Ah, the talented shoemaker. Please, have a seat," Chief Nadi said, gesturing to the chair across from him. Adaku sat, her hands resting on her lap to keep them from shaking. "Thank you for inviting me, sir. It's an honor." He nodded. "I'll get straight to the point. Your shoes are remarkable. My wife has been raving about them, and I did my own research. I believe your brand has the potential to become one of the biggest in Nigeria. I want to invest in you." Adaku's breath caught in her throat. "Invest?" "Yes. I own a chain of luxury stores, and I want to feature your shoes exclusively in them. But more than that, I want to help you build a proper brand, one that competes with international names." Her mind spun. This was bigger than anything she had ever imagined. I don't know what to say." His wife leaned forward. "Say yes. A woman with your talent deserves to be seen." Adaku swallowed hard. She had worked alone for so long. Could she really take this step? Was she ready for this level of success? One decision could change everything. Adaku sat frozen, her heart pounding. This was everything she had ever dreamed of, yet fear clawed at her chest. What if she wasn't ready? What if she failed? Chief Nadi studied her, as if he could sense her hesitation. "I know this is overwhelming, but success requires bold steps. You have the talent. You just need the right support." His wife smiled reassuringly. "Think about where you started, Adaku. You've already come so far. Imagine where you could be in a year." Adaku exhaled slowly. She thought of the days she sat alone in her tiny shop, stitching shoes while people mocked her. She thought of the moment she gave her last earnings to Chinelo, never expecting anything in return. Now, life was offering her something extraordinary. Was she really going to let fear hold her back? She sat up straighter. "I want this," she said firmly. "I'm ready." Chief Nadi smiled. "That's the spirit." He pulled out some documents. "This is a proposal outlining the investment. Look it over, and if you're satisfied, we'll move forward." Adaku took the papers, her hand steady now. "Thank you for believing in me." His wife reached for Adaku's hand and squeezed it gently. "We believe in your talent. Now, believe in yourself." As Adaku left the meeting, the weight of what had just happened settled over her. This was the beginning of something new, something bigger than she had ever imagined. The girl who once struggled to sell a single pair of shoes was about to enter a world of endless possibilities. But with great opportunities came great challenges. And Adaku knew that this was only the beginning of the real test. Adaku stared at the documents in front of her. The investment agreement outlined every detail of the funding, partnership, and expectations. It felt surreal. Just weeks ago, she had been struggling to sell a single pair of shoes, and now, she was about to sign a deal that could change her life forever. She ran her fingers over the pages, reading each line carefully. Chief Nadi had given her time to go through everything, and she appreciated that. She didn't want to make mistakes. This was her future, and she had to be sure she was making the right decision. That evening, she visited her mother to share the news. Mama Ebel's eyes welled with tears. "My daughter, look at how far you've come. Your father would have been so proud." Adaku swallowed the lump in her throat. "I want to do this, Mama. But I'm scared." Her mother took her hands. Fear is normal, but don't let it stop you. You have worked too hard to doubt yourself now. Trust your skills, trust your heart. The next morning, Adaku returned to Chief Nadi's office. He greeted her warmly, his wife sitting beside him, beaming with encouragement. "Have you made your decision?" he asked. Adaku nodded. "Yes, I have." She picked up the pen, her hand steady. With one deep breath, she signed her name at the bottom of the document. A new chapter had just begun. The moral of this story is that resilience, kindness, and hard work can turn even the most difficult situations into opportunities for success. Adaku's journey from being laughed at to becoming a billionaire proves that perseverance in the face of adversity pays off. Her one act of kindness set off a chain of events that changed her life, showing that helping others can open unexpected doors. Above all, the story teaches that self-belief, determination, and the courage to take risks are essential for achieving greatness. Tell us where you are watching from and the time your watch says right now in the comment section. We would love to hear from you, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. New series are coming very soon. Subscribe. Feel free to support us by joining Zara Premium. Thanks.